Why is there no audio?
Oh,
Turn
there
up
is. There is now. Everything was muted.
Just turn on your sound, dummy.
Okay, there we go. There's sound now.
The
And then Crawler, if you type something, I can make you
I already have a wrench, I think.
in here.
yeah. Do you?
Oh, in
Bruce,
here, I
why
don't-
you-
no,
why
never
don't
mind,
you
you're
prove
right,
it,
you're right.
tough guy?
You're right. I don't have a wrench in here.
I remember my first podcast.
I think I remember your first podcast too. I mean, no, I don't. I wasn't there for that. Who am I kidding? Because you guys started even before the Loot Cast on something else together.
No, Lootcast was the first one for us.
Oh, then I remember your first podcast too. Shoot. I remember. I wasn't there live, but I listened.
Did you watch Mortal Kombat, Eric?
Mm-mm. No. Is it terrible?
No, we can talk about it a little bit. I didn't think it was terrible.
I watched the season finale of For All Mankind, and whew, man, if you guys aren't watching that show, you gotta watch that show.
I watched the first 2 episodes last week.
Okay, it gets so good, and now season 3 they're moving to 1995. Oh, oof. So it looks like they're just gonna keep time jumping like this, which is kind of cool.
Should I press record?
So we can press pause.
Yeah, I guess so. Does Crawler have a wrench now?
Yeah, he's all wrenched up.
Okay, I don't know what a wrench does. How do you do administrative stuff?
No idea.
I can report and block.
Yeah,
I must not be.
It's kind of limited. But you also have. I pinned it in our chat here or whatever for. You can log in as press pause or whatever.
I see. I can put user in timeout too. Got it. Okay, cool. I see it.
All right. Let's do this. Here we go. Radio voices activate. Haha. What is happening? This is the Press Pause podcast. I'm one of the hosts. Josh, that's me. Eric, what's going on? How are you?
What's going on? And what is up, Pause Gang? It's your boy, Hate Zero, your hero.
And Crawler, because we don't know you on a first name basis yet. How's it going?
It's going good. How's it going? Crawl coming at you? All good. Josh threw off my flow there.
Well, like every week, we're going to say, what are we going to talk about? But a few
what
things
are we going to talk about?
I want to mention is the Warzone Show is a podcast all about Warzone. It's out now. The Xbox Now podcast is everywhere except iTunes.
Is that about PlayStation stuff?
Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah. I took the PlayStation Now and put Xbox in front of it, so they're kind of combined that way, right?
Okay.
So
that's perfect.
That's smart.
Yeah, so you guys see what I did. So, yeah, that's going on. And then, Nintendo Powercast is still happening. And yeah, that's
Smash Bros. Cast might happen sometime.
Yeah, we get a new announcement. We do have a crew battle coming up this week on my Twitch channel at 5 p.m. Pacific. If anybody wants to watch that, they're actually pretty fun. They're pretty intense. And I'm launching a new website, xboxnow.tv, and I'm looking for writers. So hit me up if you want to. Basically, hit me up if you create content and you want to write regularly and be able to promote your own stuff. Yeah. Because I want to take this one. It's not just N64 Josh anymore. It's like.
Yeah, because you're getting followed by real people on Twitter now.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Aaron Greenberg yesterday. I was like,
whoa. Just name dropping, huh? Just name dropping Harrison.
I was saying we were monster hunting for 6 hours last night, and Josh was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. So, yeah. But yeah, I've had some fun shows over there. I interviewed a guy yesterday, goes by King David, and he is very much a in the trenches of the console wars, and it's just hilarious to me because his tweets are funny, and I always just ask him about the adaptive triggers, and he's just like, get out of here. And so
which adaptive triggers are cool, but they give me anxiety when I'm playing the Resident Evil demo.
Why?
They make it difficult to pull the trigger on the pistol.
Oh, the tension. It does create a more realistic tension, which probably wouldn't be good if you're looking for fast twitch shooting.
Yeah, I mean
trigger squeeze is hard in real life. Like it's not easy.
Yeah,
I mean it's not hard, right? Anyone can do it, but it's not light.
I don't recommend handing a 357 snub nose to my wife and telling her to pull the trigger on that, because when she does, she hates the story, by the way, she will then turn and point it at you and be like, the tears start rolling down her face after she screams the F word because it scared her pretty bad. So, like, she eventually pointed
a lot of recoil.
Did the recoil come up and smack her in the face?
No. But it just, the whole situation scared her pretty bad. She was not expecting. Then I had my turn.
Immediately lost muzzle awareness after that.
Immediately. Yeah. So it was good times. Good times. If she hears this, she's going to be like, why did you tell that story?
It's going to come busting through the door back there. Watch out.
I know. I need to get locks.
We'll see her. We'll shout on camera for you.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up.
I watched a lot of television and movies this week, more so than I normally do.
Tell us about it.
I was gonna say, Mortal Kombat came out on Friday. I was ready for that. I watched that on Friday night.
Now, before you tell me about it, the first one is objectively trash, right? But it's nostalgic, right? So it's like, so my expectations for this one are, it's not going to live up to the first one, which doesn't make sense because it's objectively trash. But like, they're going to try to take it too seriously, and it's going to miss the mark. So it's going to just be bad trash, not even nostalgic trash. That's my fear. So now you go.
I mean, I would say my biggest criticism of it is the fact that they add a non-game character to it. With the main character is Cole, is just Cole. He's a descendant through the line of Scorpion.
They didn't have enough Mortal Kombat characters that they could have used. They had to create a new one.
And that's kind of what the biggest thing that bothers me is, like, Liu Kang is the savior of Earthrealm. He wins Mortal Kombat 3 times in a row, and then everybody dies, and then Raiden resets it all. But like, Liu Kang is supposed to be the guy, and I mean he's present in the movie and plays an important role, but it's not his story. It is kind of set up as a Sub-Zero Scorpion conflict that transcends over 500 something years. And I think the goal is to have, I think the two actors for Scorpion and Sub-Zero are signed on for like at least a 4 movie contract, and they definitely leave the end of the movie setting you up to see Johnny Cage and some more fighters that aren't in this iteration of it. But it's kind of a spin on the Mortal Kombat world. It's they never actually get to Mortal Kombat. Like, they don't have the actual tournament. It's Shang Tsung trying to prevent Mortal Kombat from happening, which does happen, but in I think Mortal Kombat lore, but they actually do partake in Mortal Kombat in the game lore, so you kind of miss out on that a little bit. But it's got some campy lines in it. I mean, one of the most just obtuse ones is Kung Lao puts his hat on the ground with the saw blade and splits I forget who he splits in half, but his line right after he rides her into the saw blade, and then he jumps off and he's like, flawless victory. He actually says it. And then I mean, Kano pulls out a a heart of people. We've talked about it a little bit. I think it's debated if it's reptile or if it's just a monster, but he rips out the heart and he's like, Kano wins. I mean, so it's all just can't be line
does he say fatality? Anyone say fatality?
I think somebody does say fatality.
Well, and my favorite line that was from the game was "Test your might." They got that in there as well. So I was like,
did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we see any babalities or friendships? Probably not.
No, unfortunately, no.
How about this? I will watch the movie if you confirm this is in there. Does anyone give us a oopsie?
No.
Okay.
I was reading something that said there was something subtly put in there. I didn't catch it. I'd have to go back and watch it again, but I heard that there was a subtle nod to that in there somewhere.
Okay.
Here's what they did put in that only players of the game would remember, especially the first few games. Remember how you could sweep the leg over and over again on somebody? Yeah. They do it in the movie. Just
and Kano even says, "Is that your only move?" and they do the full-on Mortal Kombat jump where he's like standing still and he jumps up and his knees come up a little bit. It's hilarious. He's like,
"You don't jump that way?"
And then he goes, "Is that your only move?" And then Liu Kang just like kicks him in the roundhouse, kicks him in the head. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. Like I didn't. Okay. My expectations were this is a nod to the 90s. This game was like so controversial. The game was so controversial, right? Like I didn't mind the first movie. The second movie I don't even remember. And I guess there's a bunch more after it even, but
I only remember the first two.
The first movie's on Peacock, I think. I'm gonna have to maybe go back and just watch it again just to watch it.
I just remember Shang Tsung like "Your soul is mine," right at the beginning of the movie or whatever. So that and then as we've been talking about it more, like Reptile was so bad. Like the CG was so terrible for that back then.
Yeah.
And so it was exactly what I was expecting. I mean, it was better than Street Fighter the movie. I can tell you that much.
Maybe Cole will get to be a Mortal Kombat character when they make Mortal Kombat the movie the game, like they did for Street Fighter.
Right. Yeah.
Terrible.
Just make him DLC.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good. I mean, I think it eventually did win the weekend box office for what it was, but I think a lot of people saw value in what it is, getting it on HBO Max. I have no problem watching it there and seeing it how I saw it, but
we know you wouldn't go to the movie theater and pay.
He would go to a movie theater and play. He won't pay for Premier Access.
Premier Access, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
He'll do a movie theater, and he'll pay
$8 for popcorn and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the experience.
The Goro fight was pretty cool as well. Did you watch, Josh? Did you click through some of like those 3 or 4 minute featurettes afterwards?
I didn't. It was Friday night, and we were at my parents' cabin, and everybody else passed out. Like I literally watched by myself, like in the middle of the woods. I had to hotspot to my Series X to be able to watch it. But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the Goro fight was pretty cool to see some of the behind the scenes. They had 2 of the like fight choreographers, like stunt guys team in blue suit, in the Blue Man suits. One was on stilts and one was like underneath him, and they all had like big Hulk hand arms that they were fighting with. It was pretty funny to watch, but it was pretty cool fight to see how they choreographed it a little bit.
Yeah, that's super neat. Like that was the special effects. I mean, again, it's just the movie was what I expected it to be. I wasn't going in there thinking it's just like King Kong versus Godzilla. Like, I'm not here for the plot and any of that stuff. I just want to watch monsters fight. I just want to watch And they made, going R-rated with it and like not like basically being pretty gory. It was like, yeah, that's the way to do a Mortal Kombat movie,
Yeah, the last ones were what, PG-13?
I believe so.
Something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember Scorpions like it was like a snake going through the trees and stuff trying to get to Sub-Zero. You're like, what is this garbage? Like this is what is this?
Hey, that movie was timeless, okay?
Yeah.
And Shang Tsung in that movie was Johnny Tsunami. So
Well, there you go.
he played not young Johnny, but the old grandfather Johnny Tsunami. He played Johnny Tsunami. So there you go.
There you go. All right. Now what do we talk about?
Well, I got my,
what, 20 minutes.
I got my invite to iOS Xbox beta. How about you, Josh?
No. Killing me.
Yeah,
Me.
why don't you tell Aaron? Does he know you don't
Wait.
have an invite, Josh?
So King David yesterday, when I told him this on the show, he's like, why don't you just tweet at old Greeny? He'll get you hooked up. Those were his exact words.
Yeah. Why don't you let him know? Is Major Nelson following you?
No.
You gotta get those guys on it.
I think that's a pretty small follow list. I think for Major Nelson to get on that list.
Yeah. Well, how is it?
So I've done it mainly in my house, just through the Wi-Fi. I've done it both through the web browser on my computer, which is hardlined, which was pretty good, and I've done it on my phone. I have whatever clip this was that they were promoting way back when there was when I got on the test flight for the xCloud beta, when it was only MCC on it, and I played a little bit. I put it, what was it, Saturday morning. I hooked it up and I was playing around upstairs, like sitting on the couch and kind of sitting back. I tested to make sure that because we had talked last week about if analog triggers would be working on iOS, and they do, because I loaded up Forza and was trying that out. But just driving a car with like the phone mounted above the controller, how it was, and kind of sitting a little bit further away from it on a small, I have an 11 Max or whatever iPhone. It just felt, I was like, I don't know what it was. I was talking to Josh about it earlier this week, but like I felt like I saw too much around the screen. It just felt kind of motion sickness-y a little bit. I just didn't like it. I feel like it would shine the best if I was like propped up on my, like laying on my stomach in my bed, like eyes deep into my phone, bad for your eyesight, that kind of stuff. Just right there in it, getting some games in before bed. Kind of how I play my Switch if I take it upstairs and kind of play away from TV. But I played MLB.
You play your Switch on your belly on the bed? Or what,
lay on my stomach. Yeah, feet up in the air,
Oh my god. Do you have your blanket
chewing bubble gum?
Wait, Carl, are you one of those monsters that sleeps like a frog ready to jump? Like where your knees are under your stomach and your ass is in the air?
No, I'm a side sleeper. As up. Oh man. Sidetrack. Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I mean it takes like 45 seconds or so, 30 to 45 seconds to load up a game. But once you're there, you hit the splash screen and you're kind of you're in it. And I played MLB The Show. I was worried a little bit about lag, and I think I did it on my phone, but I did play a home run derby on my computer via the website streaming. And I actually got second place, so it wasn't really hindering much when it came to timing or how I felt like the game performed. I was a little confused, and I was thinking that cross save wasn't working that well, but then I realized that I've played the most of Minecraft Dungeons on Switch, and they haven't migrated all those accounts together yet. Like, I think they said they're going to, but they haven't done that yet. So I was really confused when it was like, make a character in Minecraft Dungeons. I was like, I've done this. Why is it not syncing my save? But then I realized it all lives on the Switch right now and a little bit on PC. But again, all those live on islands right now. They haven't merged it. So when that comes together, that'll be good. But I loaded into Destiny just to double check, and I hit the character screen, and everything was there, and it was good. But Destiny took a little while to load, I feel like. I don't think that's a viable option to play Destiny, but it's a good option for if you're hardcore deep in the Destiny grind still, and you're away from your computer or Xbox on Xur weekend, and you need to go cash in and get something. It would work that way. I don't think it's super viable to play a multiplayer match in Destiny that way. But yeah, I mean, and Josh had talked last week about this possibly being the future when they integrate this into the actual Xbox platform, and it works kind of how Stadia was promised, where you see a game being played, you want to play it, you click on it, and you start playing. And I think Xbox or Major Nelson or Phil Spencer or somebody has been talking about this as being, the game will download in the background, and in the time being, you will play on xCloud. And that could be a great way to start off a single player experience or something like that. I don't know if I'd want to jump right into multiplayer if that's how it's offering it to you, but it's a good way to mitigate the download and hurry up and wait when you buy a new game.
Honestly, I would prefer if they got to the point, and I don't know as far as like, I don't know how far the tech can go at this point, right? But if I could have, today I downloaded Second Extinction. It was only 9 gigs, right? So it's not that big a deal. That's not that big a deal. But the terabyte on the Xbox Series X fills up fast, and if you have half that space on an S, and one of the things we talked about, like, is the S future-proofed? And I think it is because of cloud, right? But it's going to depend on how cloud works. Is cloud going to allow me to play 120 frames 4K? Because I'm going to have massive broadband for that, right? But if that ends up being the case, why wouldn't you, for games that you know you're just going to end up tossing off the hard drive anyway, instead of having to move, like I would have jumped in to Second instead of and I downloaded it through the app. Like, they've done so many things to make it easy for us to be able to do it. The one thing that was strange with Second Extinction, I couldn't get it to run off my hard drive, and I think that, or off my external drive, and I think that's because,
is it an XNS exclusive?
It is, and I think some games, it must be exclusive, right? It may not even play on the OG Xbox, and so. I couldn't get it to start. It didn't even give me any kind of notification when I was pressing A. It just made the sound and then nothing happened. And then I transferred it over and it opened immediately, even before it was finished downloading. And so you know, because I don't have the cloud, but I was testing out remote play because the Series S and X controllers were not usable on the iOS stuff, iPad, or they would connect and show up, but they wouldn't work. The Xbox One X and the S, those controllers have worked for quite some time, but the Series controllers did not. And so 14.5 came out, and I was testing remote play on Halo multiplayer, right? And it was okay. I got a handful of kills, but it's not going to be. It's more for single player stuff, I think. And so if you were like me and you had all Xbox One OG controllers that weren't Bluetooth or whatever, or wouldn't hook up, and you finally got the S or the X, and you want to try remote play, you're now able to do that on your iPad and your. I mean, it's cool. I got an iPad Pro, right? So I just set it up on my bed and.
I'm half tempted. I would think it would work. I know it's marketed as Android only, but that 8-bit Xbox controller.
Mm-hmm.
I'm half tempted to. I feel like that should work with iOS now. I'm half tempted to go maybe pick that up and have a legit D-pad for on the go or.
I think you'd prefer
whatever.
the Backbone.
True.
Because it plays like the Switch and it puts the screen where it should be. Because I think that whole movement you were talking about with the controller and I think that's what's. I think I'm just making an assumption, but I mean, do you guys remember trying to do this with the PSP and the PlayStation 3? Like this was supposed to be a thing back in the.
I mean, PlayStation was ahead of its time.
It did not work. I could never. We could. I would try to sit and watch movies in the refinery. You know, like we couldn't ever get stuff to work. But
I mean, they showed that off being start a game of MLB The Show and.
I think that was the only game that it worked with.
Yeah, push it to your PS Vita and walk away and keep playing or whatever. I mean,
well, I'm sure by then, because that was PS4, right? Those two things. But I'm talking OG PSP and PS3. It was supposed. I could sit in my house and control my PS3 with the PSP, but if the Wi-Fi signal got weak, it was game over. Game over. So, a few games I played was, like I said, Second Extinction. It's like a 3-player dinosaurs. It honestly feels a lot like Apex in as far as the mechanics and the way you sprint and slide forever. Just these giant, like there's like raptors and other dinosaurs that have kind of mutated, like they've shown back up on Earth, and it's 3-player co-op. Kind of just. You know, what was weird is achievements started popping, and I was kind of surprised because it said game preview. And so I was like, I just assumed it was more like a demo, right? Or a beta. But yeah, so it must be the full. It doesn't look like it's a massive game. It might be something.
It might be early access or something like that too.
Yeah. I don't know I want to look into it. I've started writing an article on the Xbox site, but I haven't figured out all the details yet, but the other one, and Midfi Senpai is going to like this, is Square hooked me up with a copy of Nier Replicant version whatever. Those are a lot of numbers and stuff that
you got to say the whole title.
I do. Hang on, I got to look it up. Clickety clack of the keyboards. So
you could just make it up. I don't think anyone will call you out on 2.467463479.
Nailed it. Yeah, you got it. You got it.
I started playing Autonoma. Is that
Auto Mama? I don't know.
Yeah.
Automodelista.
Yeah.
It's a great racing game.
But I mean,
that's on Game Pass, and I've had it on PlayStation 4.
You're welcome.
Pulled the trigger.
I bought it like 2 weeks before it went to Game Pass in traditional fashion, so you're welcome.
You purchased it
on Xbox?
This was Nier.
Yeah,
I purchased Nier.
Did you play it much?
I hit a game breaking bug and I never went back to it.
I assume that it's plays similar. This gave me Breath of the Wild vibes mixed with Bayonetta.
More Bayonetta than maybe it's different enough then, because from
maybe the new one is a little bit different.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of open world section where I played.
Okay,
but I didn't get very far, and then I hit a game. I think I started the game while it wasn't fully finished downloading, because it'll let you play the game before it finishes downloading, right. And then I got to a point where the game clearly finished downloading and installing, but it's forever said it hadn't, and it corrupted my save. Even reloading, it would just keep telling me the same thing. So I was like, well, this is neat. So.
Yeah, I mean, in the first game that I've been playing, in Autonoma, whatever.
Midfi's like, hey, what?
I know. But it's got some 1943 vibes a little bit, where you're top down gun, a ship shooting stuff, and then you switch to a Gundam style mech to fight a little bit and still shooting. And then you have big area boss battles that you're fighting. But then, yeah, the Bayonetta combo system, kind of free reign around, run around a little bit. Yeah, it's been fun so far. What I've played.
The first 2 hours, it's pretty good, but I'm excited for it to open up more. And I reached out to a gal yesterday. She's gonna come on the Xbox Now podcast and talk about it. She was like on the final bosses, getting ready to do the true ending already. I'm just like, what? Like, and she just absolutely loves it. And apparently the story is she's just really gotten into it, and it's brought her to tears numerous times. So I'm very curious to dig into this game more.
The first game has like what, 8-10 different endings or something like that you're supposed to play through.
I don't even know. I know it has a handful, and Senpai saying Replicant is a slow start. So, and that seems to be the case. It was just, I was like, okay, like this. I'm hoping this picks up, and from all the videos and everything that I'd seen ahead of time, it looks like it does. But initially, it was kind of like, oh, go grab this and go do this and come back and do like little kind of fetch quests kind of stuff that I was just kind of like, meh. It's so, like I'm liking it, but like it. I kind of went into it not knowing what to expect, because again, stuff looks like Bayonetta, like crazy combos, and the combat is actually awesome. I love the parry system and everything. Like it's the kind of third person action adventure RPG elements that I like, but I just felt like I needed more. So 5 endings for the first one, 3 for Replicant. So there we go. I'm gonna dive into it more, like I said, this weekend. So we'll see how far I can get. So, but you've been doing Days Gone some more, and you're liking it even more.
Yeah, I'm liking it quite a bit more than previous. I have no idea how long this game lasts. I've got 35 hours or something into it. I'm not like, it's not short, and I haven't even unlocked all of the map. So I suspect it's a 50-60 hour game at this rate, but yeah, it's getting the story is getting really interesting. It's very entertaining. This fictitious organ is very fun to drive around in, and yeah, and as you level up and get better weapons, the zombies are less frightening to you, so you kind of feel a little more confident to just go in there and start mowing them down. And your aim gets better with some of the skills you can unlock, so you can get more headshots, and you can also just completely stealth it if you want. But yeah, it's I'm really enjoying it. And normally with open world games, I kind of around this time kind of hit a wall where I'm just like, I don't want another samey quest. I don't want to go pick up more Nirnroots. Like, like I always go back to that because that one really upset me. But back in the Oblivion days. But normally I kind of get burnt out by now and just like kind of like, all right, let's, maybe I would just now focus on the main storyline so I could get done with the game. But I feel compelled to stay in this world as long as I can, and I'm having a blast. I have seen a couple bugs, and I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. One cabin in a section of the game, no matter reboots, reloads, or what, it doesn't have any interior. There's no floors, there's no nothing. And it forever loads this way, and it hasn't broken anything, so I'm just like, forget it. Like, I don't care. But the cutscenes that exist in that cabin are really ridiculous now. And it used to have
like
floors,
and an important place. Like,
yeah, you meet there a lot, and it used to have floors and everything. So I don't understand. Like, there's nothing in it, and like, so every so often, like there'll be items in the cutscene, like they'll just be floating, because like they're important items. Like you have to look at a map, and you're all huddled around a map, and it's just floating. And
there's supposed to be a table there,
There's supposed to be a table there. Yeah, exactly. And so the funny thing is, after the cutscene's over, the stuff doesn't just like show back up. So you have to try to navigate your way out of this cabin without seeing any walls or objects. And you could see the doors. Like, okay, the doors are straight ahead, but you can't straight shot to the doors. So I don't know what caused that bug, but it only affects that one large cabin, so it's not the end of the world. But
Control crossed with Days Gone.
yeah. But otherwise, I mean, the game. Like I said, I'm having a blast. I'm liking it way more than I expected, and I think it's still. Is it still free or
for a few more days? I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have a PlayStation, go get your free title, and if you're gonna get a PS5, you'll get it there too. But yeah, I think it's worth playing, especially for the price of included. Right? I won't call it free. I'll call it included. So, yeah.
Ratchet and Clank.
Soon.
Yeah. Rivet. The new character.
Let me tell you, Ratchet and Clank was the reason I went PS5 over Xbox, because you remember a few months ago I was on the fence, right? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I think I was probably even leaning Series X, and as soon as I saw Ratchet and Clank, I was like, this looks like the gameplay, the cutscenes. It looks like a Pixar movie. It looks like a Pixar movie you can play. And watching the trailer again that came out, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? It looks like a Pixar movie that you control. Like, it looks so good. And I thought it was going to be a launch title, but
it's launch window, Eric.
It is launch window, I guess. I don't know how big this window is, but
big window.
They got some big windows on Sony. I am excited to play it, and I think what sealed the deal was seeing Ratchet and Clank and then seeing Halo get pushed back. I was like, okay, so I mean that pretty much tells me everything I need to know. I don't need to get a Series X at launch, and I can get the PS5. And yeah, I'm very excited for it. What did you guys think of the trailer?
I mean, Ratchet and Clank was the one guarantee that we had going into this next gen. Like that was kind of it. It was supposed to be Halo, but then that got pushed and it didn't look that great. Yeah. And I think Returnal coming out here in a day or two is going to be maybe something that pushes the envelope a little bit on what the new system can do. The Medium, I think, fell kind of flat. I haven't tried it out yet for Xbox, but that was their only playable on the new series systems. But everything up until has there been, besides Astro's Playroom, I guess, which is a launch title,
Demon's
has there
Souls,
been,
I guess,
Demon's Souls, yeah, okay,
and God Fall or God Thumb or God, whatever it's called,
Gaudy, yeah, it's very gaudy looking. It lives up to that Godfall. But yeah, there haven't been that many things that you have to have the new system for. So Ratchet and Clank was that thing that's been, it's the low hanging fruit that's been dangled out there, and I think it's definitely a factor when I saw a PlayStation available for me to scoop up on whenever Wario 64 had tweeted that out.
Yeah,
that's kind of what came to mind. And it looks really good. I saw an interesting theory on Twitter the other day that's like, what if this is just Insomniac doing a proof of concept for the Spider-Verse, and they're gonna put Miles and Peter in different universes and let the Spider-Verse actually become a living, breathing game, which would be pretty cool.
I'm okay with that. That would be awesome. I will circle back to what you said. I think that is true of the PS5, or so I thought until I got my hands on it. PS5 is easily the best place to play PS4 games, like God of War. I'm so thankful I played it for the first time on PS5. The 4K 60 frames, like that game looked and played to me like it was a next gen title, right? Like the audio was amazing, the story is amazing on its own, but
yeah, because it changed your perception. Like you got tired of the boy and Kratos story a little bit, of the little taste you had on PS4, right?
I thought it was terrible. So my frustration, I came from the original God of War trilogy. I didn't play the PSP titles, which I heard are great, but
they are.
Kratos was, I heard good things. Kratos was amazing, right? He was the god of war. He was taking down titans and just like impressive stuff. So to see him as just tired dad, it was kind of jarring and felt odd to me.
Can we just let's take a second to remember the opening of God of War 3. Like, you remember that opening isn't that the opening sequence where you're like, there's pieces of land that are falling off this thing that you're climbing, and then you're able to finally do some damage to it. Like,
was it Gaia that you were fighting in that opening scene? I think
so. I mean, it was so epic. I just remember just being like, this is good. This is good. And it didn't like, I wanted to give PlayStation a shot, and God of War is the only thing that's ever really pulled me in.
The trilogy's on 3, right? Didn't they? I think I have it for PS3. Where they did all 3 of them together.
Yeah, I think so.
That's where I played them and beat them.
Yeah. So we come into the new God of War. I guess God of War 4 or whatever they're supposed to be called. Just God of War. Kratos is tired and not the God of War that I expected. And then you've got this, little kid, Atreus, running around with you, and he's just kind of whiny and not the son of a god, not the son of the God of War, and as you progress through the game, you start to understand that Atreus knows nothing and kind of explains some of his behavior and all that. And it all fits in, but to that first section, I'm just like, ugh. I'm glad I pushed through. Definitely. It was amazing ride, and I loved it. But yeah, and so there's a bunch of other PS4 games that kind of had the same coat of paint attached to them. Days Gone's one of them as well. It plays very smooth, 60 frames per second, and 4K, and it's fun. Even with 500 zombies on the screen, you're not seeing dips, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and PlayStation did a pretty good job highlighting important games to play by just giving them to you.
Yeah,
if you own a PlayStation 5, which helps. I mean, it gives you a good back catalog, especially if you didn't play something or all of it or any of it. There's something to play, and I think that's something. Having Astro's Playroom and those titles, you didn't have to go by Demon's Souls or Miles Morales or something else.
Although you should.
PlayStation.
Miles is worth it.
I'm at the final fight. I've kind of held off doing it because I want to go explore more of the city. But I know I got a warning that was like, if you do this, this is the end of it for. I mean, the world opens back up. I know.
Open back up.
I know. But I want to power up a little bit more. But
okay.
But yeah, I mean, and that kind of answers a little bit to same thing with Xbox. If you have Game Pass, then you're unlocking all the first party stuff that is out and available on that service, which is good. So we're kind of back in the day of the pack-in game, which kind of went away for 2 or 3 generations.
Well, that was what was so good about Astro too. Like it's a fun game, and if you have a PS5, you should play it. Like, it's very charming, and there's a lot of nostalgia there. But it came preloaded, right? It wasn't a download code. So while you're downloading the rest of your games, you could be playing Astro, and that was really a really cool thing to have. I mean, not that the games take forever to download these days, but it was really cool. And Nate asked what the zombies are called in Days Gone. They're called Freakers. Conveniently, Days Gone takes place 2 years after a global pandemic. So I guess it takes place next year. So there you go.
Memorize your locations and make sure your cabin has its floor.
Hey, I already played the game. I'm just going to head to Central Oregon. I already know where everything is now. I'm good to go.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
You're golden.
I'm ready.
Okay. So a couple things. EA updated, like, I don't know, I think it was 15
9 or 10 titles.
It's a handful of games up to 120 hertz, right? So that's cool. Titanfall 2 being one of them. Apparently on May 1st, I've seen some
I
tweets
saw
and some
this,
stuff
yeah.
going around. Like they want everybody to jump in. The Titanfall 2 saw an increase of 650% in its player base, like shortly after. And I think it has something to do. It's not just because of EA adding the FPS. It's because of what's going on in Apex as well, right? They're bringing Valkyrie, and her dad is like, I think the villain in Titanfall 2. I haven't beat it yet, so I'm not quite sure, but so that's happening. That's kind of cool. So if you have Titanfall 2, you have access to it. I guess jump in for just a little bit. I think it's just the community trying to let Respawn know, like, hey,
We want Titanfall 3.
we want a
Hey,
third.
do something else besides Apex.
Yeah. So, which Apex, I mean, they're adding 3v3, which is similar to like Trials of Osiris or Search and Destroy or whatever. And I mean, I love those game modes. So like and that's something, I mean, I don't know, Eric, if does that make that any more appealing to you, where it's like Gears of War style, you know, where you're jumping in like the OG Gears of War, you got team deathmatch and you've got one life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could make it more interesting. Certainly makes it, you can't play as recklessly, although you don't for these I can't even think of what game type right now. I'm drawing a blank.
Battle Royale.
Yeah, BR, right?
Mhm.
For these, people don't always play reckless anyways, but it does make you wonder why you wouldn't just want to play Titanfall, though.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I remember when Apex launched, and I was like, I was tweeting with somebody, or I think it was on TikTok today, and I missed the wall running. I wish Apex had.
I missed the wall running quite a bit.
I loved that. I loved that Titanfall was like a futuristic Call of Duty. It was like,
Yeah, I didn't like when Call of Duty did it though. Like I liked it in not what was
Black
the first Call of Duty?
Black Ops
It was
3,
I think
wasn't
Advanced Warfare that had it, right? That was the first one.
Advanced
With
Warfare had the stupid
jetpacks and wall running and
it was the
just the
mech suit
exosuit
kinda thing.
or whatever.
Exosuit,
yeah.
And I don't know if you could wall
did not
run in
like
that
it
one,
there.
but Black Ops 3 you
I don't
definitely could wall run. And I think it was like, this feels like Titanfall. So that was like the one I kind of put a little bit of time into. Is the first Black Ops I'd ever played, actually. And so
I liked the first two, but I think the difference was Titanfall really designed their levels around these capabilities.
sure.
Whereas I don't see that same thing from other games adding, and I think that's why Apex doesn't have it, because it's not designed with wall running in mind. So if they add it now, I'm not sure what good it would do. I guess it would allow us to reach higher points on buildings we weren't intended to initially. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, right now at this exact moment, there's almost 7,000 people in game in Titanfall 2 on Steam.
I love it. That's great.
I mean, and that's seen a resurgence. But I mean, Titanfall 2 is what included with EA Play on Game Pass or whatever, so it's there. I think Titanfall 2 was free a couple months ago on PlayStation Plus. So I mean, there's so many ways to play. I don't know
If you have EA Play on PS Plus, can't you just play it there too?
No, I don't think so.
Like,
I think you get a.
What good is EA Play on PS?
Exactly, because EA signed they made a deal with the devil with Xbox, I think.
So what games are on EA Play for PlayStation now?
I think you just get a discount. I don't know if you
That can't be true anymore. There were I tell you, there were games on it.
No, maybe I don't know.
I just assumed they were the same. I had no idea, but okay. I saw a lot of chatter today. I think Xbox has released some numbers. Microsoft's released some numbers recently about like how many subscriptions there are for Game Pass, right? Like they surpassed 23 million. Colin Moriarty was talking a lot about like Game Pass is still a double-edged sword, right? Like either Microsoft continues just to operate with this being at a loss for them because they're paying for the development of games, then getting them on their system. So, you know, and what do these deals look like? Like how much I'm so curious on the show. Like, did was MLB? Did Microsoft go, hey, we're gonna pay you X amount of dollars to let us have this? MLB was like, hey, we want this on more than the PlayStation, and then Microsoft was like, we'll take it one step further and pay you to let us put this on Game Pass, right? Because they were gonna, and they had.
I was gonna say, because I doubt Microsoft helped pay for the development of MLB The Show.
Right.
No, that wouldn't have made sense.
Contrary to like the other, the game, that game qualifies as a game far enough along in development, so they're paying the publisher or whatever. And on Xbox, the publisher is MLB, and MLB is the publisher because they went and said, you don't get our license to Sony to make this game unless we can publish it multi-platform. So yeah, they're making.
But you know who else is making money off of this particular game on Game Pass?
Sony
has microtransactions for the cards. That has to go through the Microsoft Store, so that means they're getting a small cut. But Sony is still going to be getting their cut from this as well. Like,
even if they're paying just the publisher, Sony's getting a cut for this, and I have no idea what it would be.
It's still a Sony San Diego splash screen when you launch the game.
But my point is that a game like this, it's on Game Pass. Now, I'm not interested in building teams with those cards. Like, it's just that's not for me. But I know there are people that love it. They love the Ultimate Team in Madden. But I wouldn't have as much of a problem being like, yeah, I'll throw $10 at a pack of cards or whatever to see who I get, versus like paying $60 or $70 for this one. And I feel like that's probably like, Microsoft was probably like, if we get $1 from every one of those packs opened, it equals how much?
Or the big kicker, like we talked about last week, like this probably has a predetermined shelf life that Xbox and MLB discussed and wrote into a contract. But it's also, when the warning goes up on Major Nelson's Twitter blog that games that are leaving Game Pass, you get a discount to purchase.
What's a Twitter blog?
Whatever.
Just curious.
Wow. Thanks, Eric.
I just am curious.
He has a blog and he has Twitter. Just blow it up.
I just making sure, new stuff comes out all the time. I'm getting old, can't keep up.
You are getting old. Go pay your mortgage. You got 2 coming up.
Maybe we'll see.
But Xbox probably shared with MLB and Sony. I don't know how much Sony was involved with it, but the attach rate when a game leaves Game Pass, how many people purchase it?
Well, and if you are person A that has spent $100 on cards to build your team, are you not going to purchase this game so it doesn't go away? Like, is that another factor?
Yeah, I don't know, because for sports games, what's the expectation, right? Like, is this going to be on Game Pass for 6 months and then drop off?
To be financially viable, to have people want to retain it, I would think, yes, 6 months would be probably the longest they want to do that.
Yeah,
because sports games, yes, are still playable, but not as marketable when the new shiny thing comes out.
Right. And after about, I don't know, at about 9 months, you start seeing previews for next year's version of the game. So there's that 3-month window, I guess you would have if they dropped it at 6 months.
And six months from now is October. That's World Series time, and the season's wrapping up. So maybe, and people are wanting to play. They're already playing Madden at that point. If you're just into sports games or whatever, but it just depends on what you're into.
My takeaway from this is that this free-to-play model with $70 games seems like a very viable route for Xbox. Now, there's a few things. if you understand business, you know that when you have things running at a loss, you get tax breaks for that, right? So Game Pass may be one of those things that the number crunchers at Microsoft are like, yeah, this is going to help us in this. It's going to help us in this way because everything else is, you know, I mean, they've got so many revenue streams, right? Like, it's not like Sony where like the PlayStation is kind of their main bread and butter. Xbox is trying to reinvent the wheel for console gaming and for gaming in the future. PlayStation is sitting pretty with the traditional plan of attack. Put out a console, put out the games that we've already built, you know, the fan base for. We used to see the flip and the flop, right? Like PS1 did very well. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. And then the 64 started to go, like, you know, Nintendo started losing market share to the PlayStation. And then PS2 dominated the market share. And then Nintendo still was losing. And then Xbox showed up and began, you know, that's where they started, you know, making the Xbox name. And then Sony got they didn't that wasn't it when it came to the PS3, right? Like
Sony butchered the architecture behind it. Like, games were hard to develop for. They didn't have they said get a second job to buy our system. But
it still ended up at the end of its life selling more consoles than the 360. So they figured it out. They caught up.
Yeah, and they immediately took away the backwards compatibility, dropped the price of the system. Even like, I think the button to turn it on was super expensive, so they just made it a tactile click. You know, like,
it was annoying. The one that was, you brush up against it. It's like the 360 Slim Xbox, which was annoying too. You brush up against that thing and it beeps on.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, but the PS3 was, you know, the cell processors were ahead of their time. They were pretty powerful. The fact that it came with the Blu-ray player, it wasn't your average console, right? And
that's why I bought it, is because it was a cheaper Blu-ray player.
At the time, it was, I mean, you could get a Samsung Blu-ray player for $800, or you can buy a PS3 for $600, right? Like, that was kind of your boat. But yeah, I mean, when did that come out? 2008 or
2000?
No, it was
360 was 2005, so PS3 would have been 2006.
Yeah, and it came out at $600. That was rough, you know. I mean, that's $2006, so that's like what, $11,000 now,
right? Yeah,
after inflation. So yeah, I mean, they learned from that, and but I see what you're saying. They got complacent, right? And they just kind of said Sony's name and brand alone will take us. And that was not true in the beginning.
And Xbox got complacent with 360 as well.
Right after, with the One, right?
Hey, TV.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, the Kinect stuff was fun. There was good things about it, but like, it all of a sudden, I mean, it was weird for me to see people like our friend Jawa, who was like, I mean, we played Gears all the time. Everything was Halo. He's like, I'm getting a PS4. I'm not even worried about the Xbox One. And I was just like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. But I have no nostalgia for old Sony games. Nothing. There's nothing there. And so, like, and to not have the ability, I mean, and it changed over time now that they had Call of Duty and they had Destiny. They had, you know, they were getting some, I mean, Bungie that was Microsoft's big deal, right? I mean, that was a huge factor in their success.
Yeah, I want to see you play. You say you don't have nostalgia for Sony. I didn't think I really do either. Play Astro's Playroom and seeing the collection of artifacts that you, quote unquote artifacts that you find, which is old PlayStation parts and pieces and Move controllers and LCD screens for the PS1 pop up. And then it gets culminated in a collection room that you can go around and play with. It's pretty crazy to think about. Like, I didn't have a I had a PlayStation 3, a PSP, and a PS4, and now a PS5. But that's it. I played at like friends' houses and other stuff, but I didn't really have any of the OG PlayStation stuff. But seeing some of that older stuff, like it just triggered memories and stuff, even though I didn't really have it or own it or play it that much. And
you still had gaming magazines and saw all of it. And,
Right. So, all that being said, we've heard plenty of times, I think we've probably said it, that Sony's going to have to do something to compete with Game Pass. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that's the case right now. Because Sony's the PS5 is the fastest selling console of all time. Like,
up to this point,
right. I mean, I understand. Yeah, the fastest selling within that time period.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering how that. I've seen that metric thrown around this week. I'm wondering, does the Series S take away from the X's sales, quote unquote, being a system that's sold? Because like, is PlayStation Digital and PlayStation 5? Is PlayStation 5 Digital and PlayStation 5 Disc like a combined SKU that's counting towards that number?
I think it's all counting towards PS5's sales.
So that's probably because I mean, the two, Sony and Microsoft, have to be producing systems at about the same pace right now, right? I mean, we're in a chip shortage in the world. COVID is slowing things down, but the systems are sold out almost everywhere. You can find S's, I think, from what I've been seeing on Twitter, I think they're getting a small little sliver of they're easier to get just by that much, little bit more. But
I think
I'm wondering if the S's the Series S is taking away from the. Not that I'm competing fanboy wise, but like I'm just wondering.
I can't imagine it would, right? Like that's still a next gen console sale. But I do want to talk about this because I was having a conversation with somebody about it. I don't really know who it's supposed to be marketed at and where it's supposed to sit, because for me, with the One X sitting behind me, the S doesn't make sense to me. It is an upgrade in some areas, but it's also a downgrade in others. So to me, I chalk it up as a lateral, right? From an X series, or from a One X to a Series S, is more of a lateral. And so I don't know. Feel free to at me and let me know why you like or went with the Series S.
I think
for me, I understand it's cheaper, but so is a One X. You know, and then you also get an Ultra HD Blu-ray player, and you might say like, "Oh, I don't have a 4K screen," but you probably will in a few years, right? I mean, that's kind of the idea. So I'm not sure what the S is for.
I was thinking about that because the S doesn't have a disk drive,
right? And even if it did, you would only be getting 1440, but on most TVs you wouldn't be able to get that because that's not a native display.
I think it puts them in at a price point, right? Like when oftentimes when you're thinking about selling something, with the more options that you have for each demographic of people that, $500, especially during the pandemic, could have been really tough for some people to come by, right? Where at least,
I just wonder why they didn't market, like, keep making the One X and have that be the second SKU.
Isn't there something with the one? I don't know all the technical, but I thought there was something within the One X that really kind of neutered it when at the end of the day. Like,
does it checkerboard? Is it native or does it checkerboard? I know the PS4 Pro checkerboards, but
the One X is more powerful than the Pro.
So let's see.
Yeah.
Midfi in chat says if you own a 1080p or 1440p monitor, and you want to upgrade, the X is overkill. Plus the 4K on X has compromises. Also saying why they sell the X, why does Honda sell a base model Civic? Right. So
I don't think that's quite the same thing though. I mean, I understand the price points. I just didn't know why they wouldn't have used the One X to sit in that price point. And
because they sell you on Game Pass Ultimate with the Series S as being able to play all future games coming, whereas I think, well, that wasn't in their marketing plan. The marketing plan was you can play this stuff wherever you want to and however you want to, and it's just going to work.
Yeah.
But it obviously doesn't.
I mean,
well, watching like Digital Foundry, the S is less powerful than the X. So it's not just as simple as the S plays 1080p games or 1440p at 60 frames. That's not so true. The S is not as powerful as the X, and they're noticing those milestones. If you watch like the Digital Foundry videos on that, some games are flawless and run at 60 or 120 like they're supposed to, but others don't. So it's not. So if that's the case already, and there's already now going to be a gap between the S and the X, why not have just had the 1X be in the middle?
Because it's a marketable SKU that runs with the SSD that they've been developing for X number of years.
Yeah,
and it's a more affordable entry point to get that. Microsoft right now is in the business of selling subscriptions. And that is a machine that can help them further that along.
$22 a month for 2 years, and you have the S is, for some people that's going to be the conversation with the wife, that she's like, okay, yeah, do it. You could do it ahead of time like Crawler and then suffer the wrath. But I think a lot of it too is Xbox may be looking at themselves as the secondary console, right? As the complementary console, like what the Switch has kind of been for a lot of people.
Yeah. Where
the S, like somebody might have the PlayStation 5, but they're like, man, Game Pass looks good.
They want to play Halo.
But
So my buddy I was talking to that kind of spurred this whole conversation said exactly what you're saying. He said his PS5 is going to be his workhorse. So for him, a Series S makes the most sense because he'd probably put it on a monitor anyways. It wouldn't be on his main TV, and kind of saying exactly what you're saying. I guess, and maybe the problem is me because I'm buying a 1X shows that I'm not going to be probably buying a Series S, right? Taking the time to upgrade to the 1X means I care more about fidelity and probably going to be looking for, bleeding edge on that crap. But it's just a weird point for me because now it kind of puts me like the only upgrade path I see is to a Series X. The S doesn't do enough to make it, justifiable to me.
Well, I mean, I had a buddy. He was like, hey, I have the S, bring your X over. And he just searched. He spent $700 at Costco to be able to get the X because it came with the second SSD and an extra controller, and so but because for him, he has the OLED with the 2.1 HDMI, right? Like he wanted to see it running at its best. But if in my situation right now, there's no reason for me to have the X and not the S because my monitors are going to run 1440, 120, but with my capture card and my splitter,
Elgato caps you down.
There's not even any reason for me to run a game on the SSD at this point, right? Because everything's going to be 4K. I get the HDR at 60 frames.
You'll get the
load time.
Right. But I mean, even running off those hard drives, the external hard drives, you don't really notice the load time that much. It's not like you're going back to the Xbox One. You know what I'm saying? Like it still runs very, very fast. And so it really hit me this last week and stuff as I started researching monitors and HDMI 2.1 and like I thought, like if you type in on Amazon The reason I bought my monitor, I put 4K, 1 millisecond. Like I was looking for the gaming monitor. These are the monitors that come up. It's 2K. It's 2K, but I honestly didn't know. Like
you get lost in the jumble of numbers.
There are so many different models of this particular monitor that like, oh, this one does HDR at 120, this one doesn't for $20 less. And I'm like, talk about why are they?
You're missing HDR or something like that with certain modes.
Yeah, currently if I run direct, I can do 120, 2K, but no HDR.
Or 4K 60
4K
with
60
HDR.
with HDR. And that's how I stream, right? So, and Midfi's laughing. He says you bought a 4K compatible screen. Yeah, but I mean, I used to be all up on TVs and everything, when everything started going HD. And then I've been playing the Switch for 4 years, so I'm like, who gives a crap?
Yeah, if it's above 720p, who cares?
Yeah, and so now there's all this like, HDR10 and talking about ray tracing and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm playing with.
Doesn't have any of that.
I'm playing with 10-year-old tech here, so But now to start researching, I got an article coming out. The first monitor with HDMI 2.1 or whatever it's almost $1,100.
Yeah.
Right, and the one capture card that's external that I know of is $450. So like, as much as it sucks because I want to be everything latest and greatest,
you gotta wait on some of that tech.
You've got to wait for the prices of all that stuff are going to be so high because it's new that it's like I kind of like almost threw in the towel, and I'm like, okay, I'm actually in a good place because there's like I'm not going to find the monitor that I want for the price that I got this one.
I don't know the math behind it and how it would transpire, but I wonder if we ever see consoles add a DisplayPort out like high-end graphics cards do.
Dude, I was like, I honestly almost started looking for a HDMI to DisplayPort just to see if they existed and what it would do.
They do.
Yeah.
Because I was curious. I'm like, would that, but then I'd still have a problem. My monitor only has one DisplayPort, and that's how it's hooked into my Mac. So
yeah.
Chasing digital dragons is what Senpai says, right? And I mean, I didn't know. So,
yeah, tech doubles in capability every 8 years? Isn't that some tech gurus like law or whatever?
I think it's happening even faster now, but yeah, I updated my Apple TV and my iOS to 14.5, and it has that new color correct feature on the Apple TV. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna try that. And to my disappointment, like that stuff dropped at noon.
Support it?
No, my TV does. The Apple TV does. But the problem is I've always gone to rteams.com and done all of the calibration. So when I did the color correction on the Apple TV, it told me that my TV is already color balanced and doesn't need to be calibrated. I was like, damn it. Like I was so excited for this feature, but my picture's already right. And so, yeah, I was a little bummed about that, but yeah, I mean, the tech is cool. Like I think when we move, I'm going to probably buy an LG OLED, one of the new 75-inch for the downstairs. I've definitely stayed up on TV tech. I don't know as much about computer monitors as I used to anymore, because now I pretty much use monitors for work. So I don't need my monitors to be bleeding edge. They just need to be able to process words.
I think TVs are getting better on response time. I think they're getting down closer to like 4 milliseconds. Maybe they're getting. Those bigger displays are hard to get down to 1 millisecond, but
yeah,
that was the bigger thing I noticed when I switched from gaming mainly Destiny on TV to a BenQ monitor with 1 millisecond response. Trying to go back to the big TV with slower latency, especially like just the cursor on the Destiny load screen. I was watching it like just move across the screen. And I was like, I can't. It's making me sick looking at it. I can't do it. You get spoiled and you can't go back.
The reason I said I kind of just threw in the towel is because it's like we're not caught up. Everything's not caught up. So because like you just said, you can go get a TV, but it's gonna have 4 millisecond or whatever. I mean, like, come on, like,
probably 20 realistically.
Yeah, and so they're still not.
I mean, we're almost. Some of us are in our 40s. Some of us are in our 30s. Those milliseconds don't matter anymore. Let's be real here. Like, come on.
Some of us haven't given up.
The human eye only sees 24 frames, right? That's it. 24 frames a second.
But the thing is too, like I have, and I don't know, because what I was gonna say is like, do you need 4K on a 27-inch, right? But my 27-inch iMac is 5K, and then when I go over to the 2K, I'm like, yeah, it's a little, like, I can see it's a little blurrier, right? But I mean, that's why
you don't notice the TVs on the wall at Best Buy, because they're all just right next to each other. Yeah. But when you get it home, it looks good.
The 27-inch, you might argue for a computer monitor, it's more important because you're sitting closer to it than you would a TV. And so, when you sit this close to a screen, the higher fidelity is going to make a difference between it being incredibly blurry or not at all.
And that way you can get the screen as big as possible, right? You just got to lean.
Yeah, that's how you make it bigger. You just get right in there.
All right. Well, we paused. I pressed
something to talk about.
I pressed record, and then we lost the recording. So now I get to just pull the audio off of our live stream. So, because I don't know, Crawler, we talked about it. I don't have to record the video. I could just do the audio. I got to
It's just there. It's going to be there for everybody right as soon as we hit stop.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do from now on, so we don't have this issue. But it's all right. It's no big deal. I'll figure something out. I always do. So, hey, where can we find you?
Discord. But yeah, pretty much there. I mean, you can hit me up on Twitter or anywhere else, but Discord, come hang out.
Are you making any shorts this week for the Press Pause YouTube channel?
Probably not this week, but I think I can start doing some funny stuff soon. Well, I mean, it'll be funny to me. I can't promise anyone else will. Who am I kidding? It'll be funny to probably only me.
Even if it's just your dog, like it's all right. Like.
Yeah, we saw her back there for a second.
Oh yeah, she's doing something else now. I don't know. She's always doing something funny. Yeah, I could probably do something soon.
All right, just remember in the description of the video, #shorts, and it has to be less than a minute, and it has to be filmed vertically. There you go.
No one's gonna want a vertical video. You're gonna get me banned from the YouTubes.
No, that's what the shorts are. They're like TikToks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, these will bring the subs and will bring more listeners. This is the goal here. So make sure to sub, guys, to our new YouTube channel, right? And if you're in chat right now, hit that like button. So
and Josh has got the vanity link, right? Did you put it up on your website at all?
I don't know if there's a vanity link yet. Yeah, we could. I mean, I could do n64josh.com/press
make a landing page,
press pause, and then we could do that. But yeah, just look for press pause. It'll come up. So, Crawler, where can we find you?
Hanging out in Discord, hunting monsters for 6 hours last night. We hunted monsters. HR25. Yep. We got more to grind and throw time into that game. Maybe we'll actually get some Mario Party games going now that we can play with friends. You never know.
Yeah, we all asked
2.5 years later.
Yeah, we all asked the same question. Where's my game?
I think I let someone borrow it. I don't even remember, to be honest.
I mean, I unlocked all the characters. I got the boards unlocked, and then I stopped playing. So yeah, but we can play the mini games now, however we want, when we want, with friends. Only with friends. But
2.5 years.
And I booted it up, and I was like, oh, this stupid game. I have to take a Joy-Con off because it's Joy-Con only. but yeah, hang out in the Discord, n64josh.com/discord. Come hunt monsters, or maybe we'll get a room together to play some Mario Party. I know Josh and I want to get some home run derbies going. Simo games are fun.
Yep. I want to get a league going of. I'll probably set it up this weekend. I'll get a league for the show. So if you're on PlayStation or Xbox, you can play. So
yep, crossplay.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Smash Bros. We got a crew battle coming up this weekend.
Right.
So come check that out later this Saturday.
Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. You guys can find me everywhere at N64Josh. You can also check out the new content by going to xboxnow.tv. The site launched today. It's not completely done yet, but it's close. I've only got 3 articles on there so far. And like I said, I do want to put together a team if you're interested in writing Xbox articles. But I'm just going to tell you right now, do not reach out to me if you don't plan on actually writing, because I this is something I really want to take. I really want to take serious and kind of basically build a team for this so we can see where it goes. So that's it. I'm hitting the stop button. Chat, we love you guys. Thank you. Bye, everybody.